Welcome to our React Native series. Today, we're diving into the topic of components, props, and destructuring in React Native development. Join us as we unravel the power of parsing data and customizing components for dynamic app creation. So, let's get started.
Okay, now let's learn about components and props. Okay, so how you create components and how you can pass the props or properties to make those components reusable, right? So that's another core features of React. So we're going to learn that. So let me just keep it center for now. We'll come back to it. Okay, so let's create another component. At the moment, let's write here on the same file, but later we will move to a separate components file, and then you will learn how to use separate component, pass the props. But for the moment, to keep things simple, let's just write here. So const, let's call it welcome. Welcome equals to, so this component will basically take the properties. For example, let's say user's name, and it will greet that user by saying welcome Ryan or welcome David, something like that. So that name we will give as props. All right, so this is a function. Each component they have a function. You can see this is the arrow function. All right, so if you use curly brace, make sure to use return keyword. If you are just creating one single element, then you can use parentheses as well. If you use parentheses, you have to make sure to put everything inside one block, but you don't need to write a return keyword. All right, so we can use this. So this function takes the props and it will return. It's a single element, so we don't need to write return keyword, no curly brace, it's just the parenthesis here. And here we can create a view. I keep saying div, but think of div as view in React Native. And here, let's say I want to greet the users, for example, hello, and then the props, whatever name that is. So I can put that in text, and I can say hello, and then I can show the name props.name. Okay, so this is the component. This component expects the props, and if we send the name in the props, you will be able to see that. All right, so now we can try using that component. So we can use that here. So let me just write here. So we use that component and we need to pass the props name. So let's pass name Ryan. And now you can see hello Ryan is there. Now you can reuse this component by passing different names. For example, let's just copy this one, paste a few times more, and then let's pass different name, Jen, and then David. And you can see here we have reused this component to print out three different welcome messages here. Okay, so let me remove this one for now. Perfect. So that's how you can create a component, pass different props, and make it reusable. So when you're building a real world application, most of the time you will not be passing data like this. Instead, you might have the array of names, and then you will look through those arrays, and then you return this component. So this component will show different names. For example, we can give it a try. Let's create array of names. Let's call it names equals to, create an array, and then here we can have different names. So Ryan, Jane, David. Okay, so we got the array here. Now we can use map function to map through the array and return the welcome component. Okay, so right here I can use map. So names.map. So map is a function, it takes another function as an argument, so we give another function here. So when you're mapping through its names, you get its name. So what you can do here is we can return. Now we want to return this component welcome, so you can write that here, welcome, and now you can just remove that. Now you can see here we have 3 names, so this map ran 3 times, but we still showing the same name. Now instead of this hard-coded name, let's make it dynamic by passing the dynamic name properties. So its names, we get its name, and then we pass that its name to this component, and this way you can see now we have Ryan, Jane, and David. Now we can obviously move this to a separate component of its own. So let's create a components folder. Inside components folder we can create a file called welcome, and there let me just copy that code, cut from here, go to welcome and paste here. Let's make sure to import React. Okay, so we got that function. We can export default welcome. Okay, so this component is here. It takes the props and displays the props name. So here we are using that, so all we have to do is import that component here. Import welcome from, we go one step up, we go inside components, welcome. Okay, so we import that, we use that here. Can't find variable view. Okay, so yeah, we're using view and text, so we need to import that as well here. So import view text from React Native. Awesome. Now it works. That's great. Now there's one more thing you can do to shorten your code, because you can see the props, you are accessing the name, right? You're accessing the name property from the props. Now that is something you can destructure directly as well using the curly brace and then name. So you can destructure like that, and that way you don't have to keep writing props over and over again. You can just write it like this, which is nice and easy. All right, perfect.